So when I went on this quest for answers, I discovered holistic, functional, integrative medicine. And in medicine, in conventional medicine, we know that chronic diseases all have one root cause, and that root cause is inflammation. Because if you have sinus issues or allergies, we give you an antihistamine, which is an anti-inflammatory. When you have pain, we give you an anti-inflammatory. When you have eczema or skin issues, we give you an anti-inflammatory. When you have, so we are just literally given anti-inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, anti-inflammatory. Yes, that's great, but that's just a band-aid anti-inflammatory. We're never looking at why are you having inflammation in the first place. So it's inflammation, because inflammation actually means like a fire inside, and it's something that we're all familiar with. It's that hot, fierce, life-saving reaction that occurs when your body's immune system tries to fight off like infections, heal from injuries or protect you from disease. And there are two forms. There's like acute form and there's a chronic form. So acute inflammation, or the good inflammation, happy, yay! It tells you that everything is working properly. And it lasts for a short time, few seconds to several days, and it's beneficial for your health. Then we have chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation, what that does is it is also referred to as systemic inflammation. And systemic inflammation is for example, it gradually destroys this beautiful masterpiece that we were born with. And as it tries to fight off, life's daily exposures to unhealthy food, stress, toxins, allergens, and overgrowth of these bad bugs, or even low-grade infections that all drive all these chronic diseases of every stripe, and even obesity. Specifically when it comes to, autoimmune diseases, for example, what I was dealing with, it was all these triggers can increase the release of something called inflammatory molecules or cytokines. And so there's inflammatory molecules of your immune system. So these cytokines are important in fighting off cancers, infection. Basically, it helps your body distinguish friend versus foe. And when it properly functions, the fire, it keeps it nice and controlled. But when it keeps it nice and controlled for just a short time, but guess what happens? If there's a constant exposure to these triggers, the inflammatory cytokines lose their mind, get out of control, go into overdrive, destroying everything in its path. And when it does that, it leads to chronic diseases of every stripe, damaging not only vascular tissues and organs, but also like almost every body tissues. So it's really, really scary stuff, because just by controlling this underlying inflammation, because no matter what you guys are dealing with, if you're dealing with digestive issues, if you're dealing with psychological issues, problems with pain, autoimmunities, cancer, no matter what we're dealing with, the underlying root cause is inflammation. And if we can lower the amount of inflammation, we can heal not one symptom, but then overall all of the symptoms, all simultaneously. And that is what's super powerful. Just by putting the body back into balance, getting it working properly, not just destroying everything in its path, we can heal the body from the inside out, no matter what you're dealing with.
So you basically, did you just take the approach that you wrote about in your book, and that's how you sort of adapted this anti-inflammatory lifestyle?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that is what I've sort of just done, because of the fact that I really wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Because, so I call it the foundations of good health. And that is your digestive health and detoxification. And the 4S is stress, sleep, social, and spiritual health. And remember, inflammation in and of itself is a very complex process. And there are a number of things that can be triggering it or make it worse. And a deficit in any of these areas that we just talked about can actually cause worsening inflammation. But then this is where the tricky part comes, is that everybody is different, So just because you can have, you'll be eating good, I'm on this gut healing diet, what's going on with me? Why am I still having problems? But here you have a relationship issue. Or let's say, somebody is super positive, has a great relationship, but then, is like not eating well. So each one of you has a unique story with particular implications for your health. And improving your physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual health is super critical to help heal and prevent chronic conditions.